Think chicken pot pie, but easier and even better. Today we are making the ultimate comfort food, chicken cobbler. Hi, I'm Carrie with eatingonadime.com, and if you've been following us, well, if you haven't subscribed, you need to do that first. So like and subscribe because we're on a mission to help families eat well on a budget. We love creating real food, home cooked meals that you can enjoy all year long, but don't take a lot of work. This recipe tastes completely homemade, but we're cheating a little bit by using a box of biscuit mix. But friends, once you have this, it's delicious. You can find today's full recipe linked in the description below, or you can always just go to our free website, eatingonadime.com, and you can search thousands of recipes there, including chicken cobbler. Now, before we get started, I want to talk about the chicken. This recipe includes pre-cooked chicken. You have options here. We are a big fan of shredding chicken, putting it into like cups, and then freezing it so that way you'll have it for recipes like this because it makes it so much easier. But you can also do like a rotisserie chicken. So you have lots of options that you can just buy at the store, shred the rotisserie chicken, and you're ready to go. First, preheat the oven to 350 degrees. Then you're going to need a 9x13 baking pan. I'm doing a glass one today. I'm sure any kind will work, really. We're going to do 4 tablespoons of melted butter. And just to save on like bowls and stuff, I'm actually going to microwave the butter and melt it right in the pan. This is a microwave down here. So we're just going to let that heat for about 30 seconds to get it nice and melted. Okay, it's done, nice and melted. I'm just going to not smear it, but just float it across the bottom of the pan. And then we're going to add in our cooked chicken that's been cubed or shredded, whatever you like. I like cubed when I'm doing a casserole because it makes it easier, but shredded is great too. I just usually, if I'm shredding it, I will chop it up into pieces too, so that way it's just easier to cut into since it's a casserole. Now you just want to kind of push it out into a thin layer, but you're not mixing it into the butter. I'm just making sure we'll get a little bit of chicken in every bite. Now this is 4 cups of cooked chicken, which is why if you're going to meal prep a whole bunch of chicken, most casseroles tell you the cooked amount in cups. So that's why you want to freeze it in a cup. And now we have our seasonings. We're going to start with a teaspoon of garlic powder and we're going to sprinkle it on top of the chicken. Then we need a half a teaspoon of black pepper. And also I did include the links to my seasoning jars. I love these things. Excuse me. They're awesome. They're inexpensive. They're on Amazon. Highly recommend. Then we have a half a teaspoon of salt. And we're just sprinkling it right on top of that chicken because we're going to have like delicious mixtures and stuff. We want to make sure that chicken is seasoned because if you don't put the seasoning on now, the chicken can feel kind of bland. Then you need 12 ounces of frozen peas and carrots. I mean, honestly, you could do any kind of frozen veggies that you want, but we're just going to pour this right on top. Again, it's no mixing. It's just dumping it in a pan. Now move this to the side, and then we are going to mix up a cup of chicken broth and a can of cream of chicken soup. We're going to add that cream of chicken soup. If you don't like using the canned cream of chicken soup, you're in luck because we actually have a homemade version on our site as well. I'll include that link as well for homemade cream of chicken soup. So easy to make, and we even have a gluten-free option. I'm just going to whisk this together. I like to use a whisk just because it gets it all like, mixed together versus if I just use the spatula, it doesn't get the job done. And when you're whisking, a lot of people will whisk and they'll just do circles, but I find anything that's kind of chunkier that you're wanting it to bend well, if you just whisk side to side, you can get it nice and smooth faster. Then you're going to pour this mixture right on top. Remember, we're not stirring, we're just pouring. Scraped out, get it all over. And then our final step is we are going to make the biscuit mix that we're going to pour right on top. Now we need the biscuit mix. Now this is a huge box. If you go to the store, you're probably going to buy the regular size box, but this one has like 4 packets in it, and we just love this stuff, so that's why we have the big box. But you're just going to do one regular size box, and you're going to need, let me get that out of the way. you're going to need the actual mix and the seasoning packet. The seasoning packet we're going to set aside. Okay? We're going to add 2 cups of milk, and you can use the same bowl so we don't have to mess up more dishes. You know we're all about that. And then the biscuit mix. Now, when you mix this together, you're going to be like, Carrie, this doesn't look like biscuits. It is going to be runny. That's exactly what we want. Don't worry, it's going to cook up amazing. Then we need some shredded cheese, about 1/2 cup. If you've been following me for a while, you know I highly recommend you get a block and shred it. It just works better. But if you're going to do pre-shredded, that's okay. Yes, my 1/2 cup is heaping because everything is better with more cheese. Now we're going to mix all this together. Again, it's going to be runny. I'm probably going to switch to my whisk. Let's get out of here. Just for a little bit, do the same thing to get everything combined. You can even use a hand mixer if you wanted to. You could have used that with the other one too, actually. And I'm just going to whisk this together. Now remember, like, look, it looks pretty runny. That's okay. When we were recipe testing this multiple times, we were very nervous, but it's, I mean, dare I say it's one of my favorite casserole recipes? It's really good. Definitely better than chicken pot pie, friends. Then just pour that biscuit mix, and it's okay if it's a little bit lumpy. It's a biscuit mix. It'll all taste delicious. And plus it has that cheese in there. So we're just gonna pour this right on top. No mixing, just letting it sit right on top. Before we head to the oven, I wanna remind you about the seasoning mix. If you're just following along making this, don't throw it away. Save it because it's very important for the topping after it bakes. We're going to bake this at 350 degrees for about 50 to 60 minutes. It's ready. You'll know it's ready because it'll be nice and bubbly and it'll be beginning to brown on top. If it's still a little like moves, that's okay because we're going to let it sit. Ooh, it's hot. It smells so good. Now for the best part. I don't know if it's the best part, but we're going to say it's the best part. We need 2 tablespoons of butter that we're going to melt. And remember that seasoning packet I said don't throw away? We're going to mix that in and brush it on top. Get that started. Now that the butter is melted, we're going to add in that seasoning mix. I feel like I've talked about the seasoning mix for hours, even though it hasn't been. I'm just going to use a pastry brush to mix this together until that seasoning is all melted and you have this beautiful flavored butter, and then we're just going to brush this right on top. You're just wanting to coat it so you can get that delicious seasoning on top of the entire casserole. Now that I got it all done, all we're going to do is let this rest. So it's great if you want a side salad, you can start calling everybody in for dinner, but you want this to rest for 10 to 15 minutes. And that's so it can solidify. It will be runny if you cut into it right now. So it's just like most chicken pot pies or most casseroles. You need it to rest for a few minutes. I prefer 10 to 15, and then we'll come back and we'll cut in. It's been a few minutes, so now it's time to cut in. I'm just going to use a spatula. You can use a knife, but you just cut it into squares, kind of like you would if this was a chicken pot pie casserole. So just cutting on the side so I can get it out. You know, the first one out is always the ugliest. That's what I always say. It's kind of like, you know, they always say the first pancake is always the weird looking one. Oh, but look at it. That's not bad. Oh, she's so pretty. Okay. Now it's time for my favorite part, eating it. Oh, it's so beautiful. Okay, let's go in for a bite. And before we finish up, don't forget to like and subscribe. I don't want you to miss any more. We have busted 150,000 subscribers, and we are excited. So join us so that way you can get all of our family-friendly recipes. And Rio is super excited too. Thanks so much for joining me. I hope you liked today's recipe. I cannot wait for you to try it. Once you make it, don't forget, head to the recipe that I've linked in the description and leave a review. We love hearing from you. It's my favorite thing to do every day is to read the reviews, and I want to hear from you. Okay, guys, I'm out of here. Thanks so much for joining me. I'll see you next time in my kitchen. And don't forget, in the meantime, eat at home by eating on a dime.